Stop everything right now because Arsenal's season is entering a phase that could define everything: silverware, legacy, and dominance. And it all starts tonight under the lights at Fratton Park as the Gunners step into the FA Cup with pressure, purpose, and a very clear message that this competition matters. And welcome to Gunners Updates, where we bring you the most complete, intelligent, and inside look at everything Arsenal. Because there is a different energy surrounding Mikel Arteta's squad as they arrived on the south coast for this third-round showdown against Portsmouth, an energy that blends quiet confidence with serious focus. And that feeling was obvious the moment the team coach rolled into the stadium carrying a carefully balanced mix of senior leaders, returning players, and fearless young talent, sending a signal to everyone watching that while rotation is coming, complacency is absolutely not, because Arsenal, 14-time winners of the FA Cup, know better than anyone that these early round away ties can be landmines if concentration slips even slightly, especially against a motivated home side desperate to write their own chapter of cup history in front of a roaring crowd. And as the players stepped off the bus, attention immediately shifted to Arsenal's injury situation, where there was a blend of optimism and caution shaping Arteta's selection decisions. With the biggest boost coming in the form of Kai Havertz, who has traveled with the squad and is expected to be involved after a frustrating spell out due to a knee injury followed by a short absence for load management. And this is a significant moment because the German international has been building steadily in training, increasing intensity, coping well physically, and finally putting himself back in contention, with Arteta confirming ahead of the trip that Havertz is training strongly, responding well to the increased demands, and could feature, although expectations remain realistic as he is unlikely to start, but may be introduced from the bench to carefully reintroduce him into competitive action while preserving long-term fitness. A smart move that reflects Arsenal's maturity in squad management rather than desperation. But not all the news was positive, as there are concerns surrounding Piero Hincapié, who was forced off during the frustrating goalless draw with Liverpool after picking up a muscle issue. And while scans have been completed, the full extent of the problem is still being assessed. But he is expected to miss this FA Cup tie after being unable to continue in the second half, with Arteta admitting uncertainty around the diagnosis, adding to the list of defensive absentees that also includes Ricardo Calafiori and Christian Mosquera, both of whom remain in rehabilitation and are being carefully managed with an eye on the upcoming Manchester United clash next weekend, which is currently viewed as a more realistic return window, while young midfielder Max Daumann also remains sidelined due to an ankle injury, ruling him out of this fixture as well. And with the brutal festive schedule now in the rear-view mirror, Arteta is expected to rotate decisively, but intelligently. Because the draw with Liverpool left a bitter taste, and this trip to Portsmouth offers an opportunity to reset momentum, reassert control, and hand valuable minutes to players who need rhythm, sharpness, and confidence. And all signs point toward Gabriel Jesus leading the line from the start, with this match viewed internally as a critical opportunity for him to rediscover cutting edge and authority in attack. While Ethan Nwaneri is expected to finally receive meaningful minutes rather than a symbolic cameo, a huge step in his development, Eberechi could make his first start in weeks as he continues to rebuild momentum. And Noni Madueke is set for another chance to impress from the right, all of which underlines the broader objective of this tie, which goes beyond simply getting through the round. Because Arteta is using this fixture to reassess Arsenal's attacking profile at a time when Victor Gyokeres has struggled to fully impose himself against lower league opposition, with the manager emphasizing movement, intensity, positional discipline, and technical control rather than pure physicality. And when you look at the squad composition as Arsenal arrived at Fratton Park, it perfectly reflects Arteta's long-term vision, with experienced figures like William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ben White, and Christian Norgard providing structure, authority, and calm, while young players such as Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly are being trusted to shoulder genuine responsibility rather than simply make up the numbers. And this is exactly the type of FA Cup tie where Arsenal's depth, trust in youth, and internal standards are tested. Because rather than turning the game into chaotic end-to-end football, The expectation is that Arsenal will aim to dominate possession early. Quiet the crowd quickly, avoid unnecessary physical confrontations, and rotate with purpose without sacrificing their tactical structure, knowing that Portsmouth will be aggressive, organized, and fearless, but that Arsenal's technical superiority and experience should prevail if discipline is maintained. And as the players walked into the stadium, the message was unmistakable. This is not a free hit. It is a responsibility, because the FA Cup has been kind to Arsenal historically. But history alone guarantees nothing, and this journey begins on the south coast under real pressure with expectations firmly placed on Arteta's side. Kickoff is approaching, rotation or not. Arsenal know exactly what is required. And as always, come on you Gunners. But while the focus is on the pitch, the story doesn't stop there, because behind the scenes, Arsenal's January transfer strategy continues to quietly unfold. And despite the window being open for over a week without a first-team signing, this is not hesitation, it is calculation. Because after spending an enormous £257 million in the summer, Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta are operating with precision rather than impulse. Yet make no mistake, Arsenal are active, conversations are ongoing, and major decisions are being shaped away from the spotlight. Starting with the biggest off-pitch win of the season, as Saka has agreed a new long-term contract at Arsenal, with David Ornstein reporting that the England international has signed a 5-year extension that will keep him at the club until 2031, extending his previous deal which ran until 2027. And this renewal is monumental because it is not just about security. It is about identity, ambition, and control. Sending a powerful message that Arsenal are building around their elite talent rather than selling it, with Saka now firmly positioned as the face of the project and a cornerstone of Arteta's vision. While recruitment planning continues with a clear focus on elite young talent, as Sky Germany report that Arsenal have made an inquiry for Borussia Dortmund's highly rated 17-year-old centre-back Romeo Ritter, who is also being monitored by AC Milan, and is viewed strictly as a future project with his contract running until 2027, demonstrating Arsenal's commitment to long-term squad building rather than short-term fixes. While in Spain, reports suggest that Arteta has personally requested that Arsenal explore a move for Arda Güler, whose role at Real Madrid has diminished under Xabi Alonso after a bright start to the season, with discussions centered around a potential loan deal that could include a massive €90 million option or obligation to buy, making it a complicated situation, but one Arsenal are monitoring closely due to Güler's immense technical ceiling. And then there is one of the most explosive links of the window, as Arsenal are reportedly among several clubs to have inquired about PSG winger Bradley Barcola, with the 23-year-old boasting an impressive return of goals and assists, but facing intense competition for places in Paris, leading him to consider his long-term future, although with a contract running until 2028 and interest from Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool. This would be a complex and expensive pursuit, yet one that Arsenal are clearly watching. While at youth level, Arsenal are pushing hard for Blackburn Rovers wonderkid Igor Tyan after multiple bids over £1 million were rejected, with the player declining a professional contract at Blackburn, and Arsenal expected to return with an improved offer later this month, a deal that feels increasingly inevitable. And perhaps one of the most serious strategic situations involves Marc Guéhi, as reports indicate that Arsenal have held talks with the Crystal Palace captain's representatives, with the England international out of contract in the summer and admired by Arsenal after they considered him last year before opting for other defensive reinforcements. And with Manchester City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid all monitoring the situation, Arsenal may prefer to wait and attempt to secure him on a free transfer rather than overpay in January, which would represent an exceptional market opportunity if timing allows. While there could also be movement in the opposite direction, with Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis Skelly potentially heading out on loan due to limited minutes, and external interest beginning to form around Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli, although no formal approaches have been made. And through all of this, Arsenal remain calm, sitting 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Having secured their most valuable asset in Bukayo Saka, and positioning themselves smartly for both January flexibility and summer dominance. Because quiet does not mean inactive, and if you are enjoying this complete Arsenal breakdown, make sure you support Gunners updates by liking the video, subscribing for daily Arsenal content, and turning on notifications so you never miss an inside update. And let us know in the comments which potential move excites you the most. Whether it's Barcola, Gehay, or Güler, because we are watching everything closely as Arsenal continue to fly. And as always, come on you Gunners.